Good morning, everybody. 7:07 a.m., December 13th, 2017. All right, we have another named winter storm that is actually making its way over Minnesota as we speak. These warnings and advisories I'm giving are more for areas of northeast Michigan, lower or northeast Wisconsin rather, lower Michigan, and those areas are expected to get 5 to 8 inches of snow from this, and pretty quickly too, because by Thursday, by the end of Thursday, this system here, Chloe, sorry about that, is actually going to be off the coast in the Atlantic Ocean. So the brunt of this storm is definitely going to be, like I said, areas of northeast Wisconsin, lower Michigan. Those are the higher amounts of snow we're looking at, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches of snow in some areas. And then as it pushes through overnight tonight into northern Ohio, western Pennsylvania, and even southeast New York eventually. There are areas in there that could get 3 to 5 inches of this. And a lot of this, again, guys, is lake effect snow because of the cold air. Now, I pulled up this chart here. We don't really look at this one too much, but this one gives a pretty good look if you just follow my mouse as we're here. This is Minnesota. We got Wisconsin here. And then on the other side of the Great Lakes here, we have Michigan. And this is just a sectional map. It wouldn't allow me to show the entire map of this area. You have to pick a section. I guess that's just the way this website works. But this will work fine for us because it gives you an idea of how that cold air is pushing down from Canada. And you can see this system here of moisture starting to loop around and then pushing towards the east. And now as that cold air hits these lakes, basically anywhere on the east side of these lakes when that cold air is passing by is at risk for heavy snowfall. And that's why we've been talking about this lake effect snow a lot lately, because a lot of these storms, the moisture is moving west to east across the U.S., or it's coming down right around here, right over the borders of North Dakota and Minnesota, and then they begin to move to the east, and that's when they pass over the Great Lakes, which are big enough to really affect the weather, especially with the cold air. Now, as far as cold air goes, we have some wind chill stuff going on here, especially in the Northeast and some of the mid-north states. Like I said, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, and then we move into Ohio. Look at some of these numbers. This is a wind chill. It's pretty windy out there now, at least outside in my area. It definitely feels like zero. I have powdering on the ground right now of snow. They're outside salting. So there are some areas in the Northeast that are right now already getting some of this weather, which is still remnants of the last system. Now this isn't necessarily Chloe, because Chloe, like I said, is over by Minnesota right now, making its way over Wisconsin and then again into Michigan. And as it's crossing these lakes, guys, that's when you're going to start seeing the snow accumulations, anywhere from 6 to 10 inches in lower Michigan and northeast Wisconsin. That's as of right now. That may change throughout the day, but I'll keep an eye on it while I'm at work, and I'll keep you updated via Instagram and Twitter. Now again, North Ohio and then Western Pennsylvania, these areas, this would be 6 or 7 hours from now. Later on tonight, we might see the beginning of this, and it could even be overnight. And then, like I said, by Thursday, tomorrow, midday to late day, the rest of that system is going to be pushing right around this area, probably near South New England and then the Long Island and New Jersey areas as it moves off into the Atlantic. So it's going to be a fairly quick moving storm, but they still named it nonetheless. It is big enough to name. We're going to take a look at it here. This is the continental U.S. chart I've pulled up here. I usually do the wide view because we've been so used to looking at that with the hurricanes forming in the Atlantic. But guess what? We are done with hurricane season. It is now winter storm season, and we are on letter C. Again, this is Winter Storm Chloe. You could see it right here. This is the 14th, so I'm going to back it up a little. And here's the 12th. So now you can see this is the system we just dealt with all over the Northeast that pushed a lot of that snow even into the panhandle of Florida. Guys, right now, as of right now today, we've had snow in all 50 states. And we are not even in the season of winter yet, technically. They still predict a mild winter, believe it or not, for most of the U.S. It's supposed to be a mild winter, but in the next 6 days alone, there's three different systems that pass right over the Great Lakes, dumping snow on the northeast and in areas like we were talking about of Wisconsin and Michigan. But those areas, I'm sure if you live there, you know you're always at risk for this type of stuff because all you need is a little bit of moisture and then that cold air from Canada, and you have lake effect snow. It's not like this in any other part of the country because of the size of these lakes. They almost act like oceans when they affect weather. It's very, very interesting to see. You can get those tornado spouts in these lakes. We had some of those over the summer. If you guys remember, we filmed some of those. There were some off the coast of Long Island. Just pretty cool stuff. But let me pause this really quick. We're going to move back to current time. So here's the 13th. Here's the remnants of the system we're dealing with now. That's why there's some snow right now in Pennsylvania, areas of western New York. We have some powderings. The higher elevations obviously have higher amounts. But here is Chloe. Now you can see Chloe comes right down from Canada, the moisture and all, and it just follows that jet stream line. You can see the dip right here, and then we had that low pressure that's exiting now, and then here's that other low pressure. Now these low pressures, you want to look at the bottom ring of them, especially when the moisture is underneath. Now as I move this forward, you'll see that this almost whips up just underneath the lake and then up into areas of Michigan, and that's where the big areas of snow are going to be for Michigan. And then it passes through. We get into the areas of Ohio right here. So the top area, the bottom ring of the L, and the top area of the moisture is where that high snow is going to be. That's going to be closer to 3 to 5 inches. So we're looking at 3 to 5 inches in northern parts of Ohio. And then the western parts of New York, depending on how far this low, where the L is here, where that bottom ring goes, if it covers the whole bottom part of western Pennsylvania, you can expect snow in all those areas from Chloe. Now, as you get more south, it's a little bit more warm, so you won't necessarily see snow down here, even though this is where most of the moisture is. We got to remember, most of this snow is coming from the lake effect after the moisture passes over the lakes, mixed with the super cold air that we just showed on this chart. Very, very cold temperatures here. You can see almost like it's a defined line of these purple colors. 12 degrees, 6, 7, 1, -3, 0 in northeast PA. Then we have 0 in the middle of New York. And then it actually gets warmer as you move up into areas of Maine and Vermont, which is unusual. And it just goes to show that this is the jet stream pushing down this cold air basically in strips. And just to give you a quick look at that strip, that's why you have this defined area here that they show the winter storm watches and the winter storm advisories. Now you can notice again to the east of Lake Michigan, in areas of Grand Rapids, Lansing, and then later on will be Detroit. It's all because of the size of Lake Michigan here. The cold air mixed with that moisture coming down from Canada that's currently passing over Minnesota and then into Wisconsin is going to cause those heavy snow amounts once again in the middle areas of Michigan. Now there are some parts of southwest Michigan that may not get any snow from this, and that's all because the moisture may just miss this part of the area. So you could just see how once again, we've talked about this over the last 3 days, how the lake effect snow is very specific to certain areas. And then as we move in closer to late Wednesday, early Thursday, then areas of Cleveland, and then western Pennsylvania once again, and then even areas of Buffalo once again are on watch because of the Lake Huron mix. And then we have Lake Erie here that's going to cause all that stuff in Buffalo. I'm sorry, Lake Huron is this lake here. Which is north of Detroit and Lansing. So any areas that get snow because of Lake Huron is going to be more in the Canada area, not really our concern as of right now. I don't think, even if this strip were to cover Canada, I don't see it being much more north than this line right here. So anyone that lives in this area of Canada here, I don't think you have much to worry about as far as the snow, but the cold is what everyone is talking about today. And here again, here are those temperatures that we're dealing with. It is super cold outside. It's very powdery snow, not packing much at all. The colder it is, the more dustier the snow feels. No snowball making snow. It definitely feels like 0 degrees outside, at least where I'm currently at. Now let's just take a look at this really quick one more time as it passes through. We can kind of get an idea of how you can see the center of the low pressure here is passing over the Great Lakes, and then it's that most southern part of the middle ring here of the low pressure that's getting those cold temperatures. Now, again, it's a little bit warmer down in the states, so that's why we're not seeing very big snow amounts down in the middle of the states this time. Most of that snow is going to be hugging this bottom part of the ring, right where that moisture is. And you can see just as it passes over Minnesota and then Wisconsin and then into Michigan, you can see how the bottom part of this ring is exactly where this strip line is, where the snow lines up. So if you can kind of visualize that in your mind, you can see why those areas are getting the snow. And then you can see by the end of Thursday, areas of PA, and then we're into New Jersey, Long Island, and even parts of Connecticut might get snow closer to the water. Based on how quickly and how much moisture is being pulled with this thing, and then by Friday this will be gone. But then soon after that, guys, we have another system that's moving through. This is the 16th, the 17th. We get a little bit of a 2-day break, and then this may become interesting. This is the 20th. Now, depending on how much cold air is being pulled down from Canada once again over areas of New York and even the Great Lakes, it may mix with this moisture and cause a New England type snow deal. And then, of course, they are talking now about a white Christmas in specific areas. It's more hugging the north side of the U.S., even areas up in here that we'll get into later on in the week. But just check out this system here. This is the 23rd. This is that system that we were talking about that could slowly inch closer to the coast as time went on. And you can see it right here. It's already closer. So we may be dealing with a pretty significant storm 2 days before Christmas and then Christmas Eve going into Christmas. Again, we still have time for this storm to push back. This thing may be right over the Northeast during Christmas, so we're going to keep a close eye on it. But for today, guys, we're worried about Winter Storm Chloe. Again, Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan. Those are the areas that are in the immediate path of it. And then later on, we'll be talking about western Pennsylvania, areas of New York, higher elevations. And then Thursday, Long Island, Connecticut, Boston, even Massachusetts getting some of that snow. So that's it for now, guys. I hope you have a great day. Stay warm, dress warm. I know I have to. Heading off to work now, and I'll either talk to you this afternoon or once again, we'll talk in the morning. All right, guys, take care. Bye-bye.